Hello, my name is Jitters and welcome back to another episode of Why Everybody Plays, a series of mine where I talk about the most played agents in the game. Today I'm going to be talking about Sage. I don't think that Sage is what most people typically think about when it comes to agents with high pick rates, but she's definitely up there. In fact, Blitz has her as one of the top 3 most picked agents in the game at a lot of the ranks. So today I'm going to be talking about why everybody plays Sage. But before we start the video, did you know that a majority of my viewers are not subscribed? I really appreciate all your support, and if you're enjoying the videos, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps out a lot. You'll get notified every time I post a new video, and who knows, maybe one day I'll even activate Windows, and you definitely don't want to miss that. Anyways, let's get back to the video. Like always, I'm going to be starting this video off by talking about Sage's weaknesses, or probably more accurately, why a player wouldn't want to play her. The first point I wanted to talk about is how Sage doesn't provide the same 1v5 potential as some of the other agents I've talked about so far. Okay, this isn't entirely true because depending on your playstyle, you can carry hard on Sage, but I'm going to expand on that more later. This is more about how she's generally perceived or advertised as an agent. The other agents I've talked about, Jett, Reyna, and Omen, all have utility that so obviously allow them to get a lot of kills, outplay opponents, and just make cool highlight plays. Jett has her dash, updrafts, and ultimate that let her go crazy, get a bunch of kills, and be really hard to hit. Reyna can heal after all of her kills and her ult makes her a monster. And Omen can make really cool outplays with his TPs and get free kills with his blind. But Sage is a healer with a wall and slow orbs. She doesn't provide that fast-paced gameplay that I think a lot of players want in a game like Valorant. It would be like playing League of Legends and never trading, never leaving your lane or team fighting, and just farming all game. It's like playing Mercy in Overwatch. It's like having the Genshin without the impact. I don't know, I've never played it. The second big problem with Sage is that she's received multiple nerfs since launch. It's funny because people always talk about Omen's nerfs and how big they were, but honestly Sage has been nerfed way harder since launch, and I don't hear anyone talk about it. Sage was the strongest agent in the game at one point. Her wall was unbreakable, her heal was actually crazy, her slows lasted like 4 rounds, and her abilities were so cheap my parents would buy them. Sage has had her slow duration decreased by 2 seconds, as well as a 15% decrease to the actual amount players were slowed by. Her wall had a cost increase to 400 credits from 300. Her heal cooldown went up an entire 10 seconds. Her wall's health went down by 200 and its duration decreased from 40 seconds down to 30. Her heal also went down from 100 down to 60. The slow orb size was reduced by 30%. The wall also now ramps up in health rather than just starting at full health. She can't cast her wall in the buy phase anymore. Just to put it into perspective, Sage used to be able to heal 3 times a round for her teammates' full health. She had a wall that started at 1000 HP and didn't have to ramp up or build, so you couldn't just shoot it right away like you can now. Her slows were bigger and slowed by more than they do now. And she had a res for her ultimate. And her whole kit only cost 500 credits to fully buy all of her util. Now her util is way more expensive, costing 800 credits to fully purchase all of it. Sage is the most nerfed agent in the game, bar none, and it's funny because even after all those nerfs, she still has one of the highest play rates in the game. So anyways, on to my last point. This point is honestly very similar to my first one, which is that she's a support agent. The thing is, it's a little different because my first point is specifically talking about her playstyle, where this is more about just the role she's in. And the thing is that being a support is not a weakness, but more of a reason why I would think that some people wouldn't want to play her or think she's boring. Especially in NA where the culture is very much solo carry oriented and everyone wants to be the hero. Sage just doesn't seem like she would appeal to as many players as an agent like Jett, Reyna, or Omen. But it seems like even though you would think that players wouldn't want to play her, players still do, and there are some great reasons for that. The first big reason for why Sage is picked so often is that she's one of the most stable picks in the entire game. What do I mean by that? Well, if you want to main an agent and spend all of your time learning them, you'd want them to be viable in as many situations as possible. For example, an agent like Cypher can be really strong on some maps like Haven, but becomes really hard to play on other maps like Icebox and Breeze. Sage doesn't really suffer from this issue. You can pick Sage on pretty much any map even to this day and she'd be a viable pick. And on some maps I'd even argue that she's a must pick, or at least makes playing the game so much easier. For example, I think Sage is an absolute must pick on Icebox because it's honestly really hard to plan on B without her wall, and it's also really strong to wall off tube. So not having one puts your team at a huge disadvantage since they can't really attack an entire site properly. And she makes attacking a map like Bind easier since you can wall off half of A site or elbow on B to allow for a safe plant either by truck or default on B. Or you can do the shower plant where you wall off and plant in the corner of the site, which are all plays that wouldn't really be possible without her. Another big reason for why Sage is picked so often is that she's one of the easiest agents to pick up if you're new to the game or need to fill. You don't need to really worry about learning lineups to play her. Her heal always gets good value no matter who's using her. Her wall is very easy to understand, and her ult is literally insane. With little to no practice on her, a player with decent game sense can easily pick her up and get good value out of her. Another big strength of Sage is that she can fit into pretty much any team comp. Does your team have a Raze? Pick Sage. Double controller? Pick Sage. Double sentinel? Pick Sage. 4 duelists? Pick Sage. Of course, I'm over exaggerating a little bit, but Sage can be played with pretty much any combination of agents. No matter what your team comp is, adding a Sage to it will likely not be a bad pick, and nobody's going to be upset that you locked her in. Where if you lock in an agent like Jett when you already have 3 duelists, you'll likely be getting flamed for it. She also has great synergy with an agent like Raze, where you can combine her slows with her grenade for massive damage. The next point I want to mention about Sage is that she has good potential for outplays. Yes, I know, I said earlier that Sage doesn't have the 1v5 potential of some of the other agents, but remember, I said it depends on your playstyle. You can play safe, wall up choke points, throw slows and just heal your team, or you can use your wall in creative ways to catch your enemies off guard and get free kills. If you watch my last few Why Everybody Plays videos, I talked about the importance of playing off angles and on high ground. Well, Sage makes her own angles and her own high ground. If you throw up a wall your enemies don't expect and then peek from the top of it, you can sometimes get free kills or damage if enemies forget to hold it. There are also a lot of cool walls that can give you a crazy advantage. I'll give you a couple of the more common ones on Ascent to make my point. For example, there's the wall on top of the box in Garage to see through the window onto site or market. You can also pair this one with an Omen to have him teleport onto site for a free kill sometimes. And there's also one where if there's a smoke A main, Sage can wall up her whole team to see over it and contest A heaven. Bruh. There are many more and I don't know them all, but if you search up a bunch of Sage walls, you can find some really cool ones that you could use in your games. The final point I wanted to bring up is her ultimate. Holy crap is her ult strong. Probably the best ultimate in the game, if not at least top 3. This ultimate is huge. It pretty much gives your team an extra player, making the round effectively a 6v5. Your team can push on attack, your entry goes in, dies, gets traded, and then you can res him and now you're in a 4v5 with sight. You can also use the res to bait a teammate's body and trade a kill off of it. Just having the ult up forces the enemy team to play differently because if they decide to fully rotate after getting a kill, they risk you resing it for free and bringing the round back. This ult is crazy and I think it costs 8 ult points for a reason. Sage is definitely a staple in solo queue and I think that she's going to be like that for a while. Even though Sage has received multiple nerfs over the last year, she still sees a lot of play. And I think with how stable of a pick she is, Sage will probably be viable for a long time. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like. Also leave a comment letting me know whether you agree or disagree with anything I've said in this video. And subscribe for more Valorant related content.